Why I'm not Mormon, also known as Latter-day Saints. So I'm referring to the Mormon Church. The founder of the Mormon Church was a man called Joseph Smith. Now, Joseph Smith was actually a 33rd degree Freemason. Now, I've referred to Freemasonry or Masons maybe a couple of times in my videos, just to explain for those who don't understand what that means. Freemasonry is a secret society, or the Masons are a secret society. So what they do is, when someone becomes a part of the Masons, and it's normally done by invite. They have basically 33 degrees. It's almost like you're climbing a ladder. So at the very bottom of that ladder, the first 3 degrees, which are known as blue degrees, is basically the truth is hidden from those who join the Freemasons. And even the higher levels above the first 3 that I've mentioned, the truth about what Freemasonry is, or what it means to be a Mason, is kept from those who would have joined the Freemasons. It's only when you get to the 30th degree, the 31st, the 32nd, and the 33rd, do you get to be told what Freemasonry is all about. So when you get to those high degrees, which I've just mentioned, you are then told that it's somehow revealed to those who make it to that, to the very top of Freemasonry, that they actually worship Lucifer. There's also a book which was written by one of the highest Freemasons in America, who was known as Albert Pike, who was a general in the Confederate Army during the Civil War when Abraham Lincoln was president. He wrote a book called Morals and Dogma. Now, I understand that it's quite difficult to get, there's been some different editions, that the ones that are found typically today don't contain some of the information which was in the first book. So Albert Pike basically says in that book that they worship Lucifer. So what I've come to understand through research, and especially watching Walter Veith, who has done a very good documentary on the Mormon Church. I'll try and put it in the description of this video. Basically, what I've come to learn is that Mormonism is actually Freemasonry dressed up as a Christian church. So Joseph Smith, who I mentioned, was the founder and the first president of that church, was a polygamist. He didn't see anything wrong with having many wives. And in fact, what he used to do is that when he saw a woman that he was attracted to, he would then say that, God told me that you should be my wife. And Muhammad also, the prophet, the prophet of Islam, also did a similar thing, and it said that he even married a 9-year-old as well. He used to say, when he saw someone that he was attracted to, a beautiful woman, he would say that God said you should be my wife. That's what Joseph Smith used to do as well. There was one particular lady who actually refused and exposed Joseph Smith when he tried to do that to her. So Joseph Smith claimed to have received some golden plates from an angel called Moroni. But the interesting thing is that Joseph Smith is the only one who saw these golden plates. So personally, I don't believe that actually ever happened. He just made that up. So from those plates that he had received, he wrote the Book of Mormon. Like I said, allegedly. He allegedly received some golden plates from an angel. So the Book of Mormon is actually a fictitious book, although it's presented, the Mormons are presented as fact, but it's actually a fictitious book. And it talks about ancient American tribes, which Mormons believe to be real. And so the places that Joseph Smith mentions these tribes as living in or living at, archaeological digs have been done in those areas, and they failed to find artifacts or any evidence to show that these tribes existed. Something else that's quite interesting is that the Mormons believe that Jesus and Satan are brothers, not biblical. Something else they believe as well is that black skin or dark skin is a result of sin. So like with me having black skin or brown skin, they say that is a result of sin, which is nonsense. There's no way in scripture where we were told that if you have dark skin, you had that dark skin because of sin. Basically what happened with Adam and Eve is that God created Adam and Eve with the ability to produce different, for lack of a better word, races. Adam and Eve produced different races, but that's not the right word to use anyway, because there's only one race, and that's the human race. Maybe I should say Adam and Eve and their descendants were able to produce children of different colors. And also something else that happened as always, as people migrated from the the Tower of Babel, because God had confused their languages. As they settled in different parts of the world, they adapted to the conditions that were in those parts of the world, and then that led to the differences in skin color as well. So those who settled in very cold countries tended to have lighter skin, whereas those who settled in Africa and other parts of the world that were quite hot adapted to the weather in those parts of the world. So yeah, this thing about sin causing dark skin is a lot of nonsense. And in fact, there used to be a lot of racism in the Mormon Church because of that belief. I know that there are some changes being made in the Mormon Church to accommodate ethnic minorities, but that's what they used to believe. I'm not sure how far they've gone in terms of removing those false doctrines. So I mentioned that Joseph Smith was a polygamist, and in fact some Mormons are still polygamists as well, and carry on the practice of having many wives. They have secret ceremonies where they wear secret underwear, and I even confronted a Mormon about this when I was in the UK. He was he had a bike with him, but he had put his bike to the side. So when I spoke to him about this, he got on his bike and rode off. And whilst he was riding off, he said he was not willing to discuss this issue that I brought up. And he said he wasn't willing to discuss it in public. They have secret handshakes, exactly like they have in the in Freemasonry. They believe in something called the blood atonement, which is, I think, something else that they're trying to remove from the Mormon Church. So what blood atonement is basically church instigated violence and murder committed against dissenters and strangers, maybe strangers such as myself, who are exposed in the Mormon Church for having false doctrine and being basically a form of Freemasonry. They call themselves Latter-day Saints, but that's just nonsense, basically, because they are not saints at all. They are practicing Freemasonry. And like I said, they have these ceremonies where they do secret handshakes, and they wear has been referred to as secret underwear. Both male and female Mormons do that. So just going back to the blood atonement, which is where I said they instigate violence against dissenters. So you have some Mormons who basically will come out and start speaking out against some of the practices that are done in the Mormon Church. Those dissenters sometimes can have violence perpetrated against them, as well as strangers. So in Luke 3 verse 14, John the Baptist said, "Do violence to no man." The second president of the Mormon Church was a man called Brigham Young. The interesting thing about Brigham Young is that he had a Jesuit handler named Jean-Pierre Desmet. Now the word handler basically means that that was his controller, and in fact what the connections, when you connect the dots, you find that basically Mormonism is a false church that was started by by the Catholic Church, because what you have to understand is that the devil starts many false religions and many false churches to draw people away from true Christianity, and even not just, so not just Christian churches or alleged Christian churches, but even the various religions that we have around the world, whether it be Hinduism or Buddhism. Those were started by the devil to draw people away from Christianity. So the Mormons believe the dead go to heaven immediately upon death, contrary to the scriptures which say that the dead wait for Christ's second advent, whereupon the faithful will be resurrected and taken to heaven with Christ. So Mormon temples as well, especially the headquarters in Salt Lake City in Utah, have many Masonic symbols, including the all-seeing eye, like the one on the US dollar and in Egyptian hieroglyphics. So I've had many encounters with Mormons, not as many as I've had with JWs, Jehovah's Witnesses, but I have had encounters with Mormons. When I had those encounters with them, I thought I could witness to them, but what I found is that they tried to force me to take a copy of the Book of Mormon. In fact, the Mormons actually use the King James Version of the Bible, but they seem to hold the Book of Mormon above the Bible, and they almost basically tried to force me to take the Book of Mormon on one of my encounters with them, which I obviously refused, because I knew enough about Mormonism at that time to know that basically it's a false religion. Excuse me. So there was one particular encounter I want to talk about when there was I used to work in a place called Reading. That was just after I left the army and just before I joined the police. I had an encounter with some Mormons on a number of occasions. I used to have Bible studies with them during my lunch break. This is where I got even more understanding about what they believed. So I arranged with some of them arranged to meet some of them outside working hours. I wanted to show them a video. It was a video done by Professor Walter Veith, basically where he showed that Mormonism was a form of Freemasonry, and he showed the architecture of their buildings. And when I started showing them that particular part of the video, these two Mormons who had taken me and my wife to their hall near Reading, or in Reading, or maybe on the outskirts of Reading, they threatened me and my wife with violence, because of what I showed them on the video. So once again, the scripture said, "Do violence to no man," but they wanted they were actually threatened to beat me up because I exposed their religion. One of them actually said to me, one of the two Mormons who were there, said to me, "Listen, I left the Catholic Church to join the Mormon Church, and now you're showing me all this." So it's almost like the truth that I was showing them, or the truth that I showed this guy. This guy was offended by the truth because he said he had left the Catholic Church to join the Mormons, and now I was kind of upsetting him, by showing him that the Mormon Church also had false doctrine, So, but what I believe is that we should follow the truth regardless of where it takes us. Joseph Smith, I just want to talk about how Joseph Smith died. Joseph Smith was arrested actually for committing crime, and he was put in jail. And whilst in jail, there's a mob that came and killed his brother, Hiram Smith, I believe his name was. And Joseph Smith tried to fight back by having a shootout with the mob, and that's how he died. So not exactly how you'd expect God's prophet to die, engaging in violence. So that's what I wanted to share with the Mormon Church. Once again, like with the video that I did on the Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm sure there's a lot, there's more I could have shared, but that's what I wanted to share. And I'll try and find the video by Walter Veith where he talks about the Mormon Church, and I'll put that in the description. God bless.